All right, guys, welcome back to 90 Minutes or More. Our weekly podcast is now episode 9, I believe. So we've been at it with a lot of topics covering everything in the football world to date. Now, of course, it is Tuesday, February 17th right now. Quite a few things have been happening over the last little while, and there's going to be a lot of action upcoming, especially with the UEFA Champions League coming back. You already know what it is. We are on deck with Vicente, ready to
Hey
rock
guys,
and roll. All right. So it's been a pretty eventful weekend. I mean, modest weekend as well. We have a few things that had happened that are some talking points. So we'll get right into it, essentially. The first thing we actually wanted to go into was the UEFA Champions League playoff knockout phase that is currently happening to decide the last 8 teams to go into the next round. So the first legs is essentially starting today, and another round of legs will be played tomorrow. And then I believe it will be finishing up as of next week. So right headed into it. Yeah. What are your thoughts on the UEFA Champions League? Any matchups from the outset
I'm
that you
excited.
are?
I'm excited. I'm
Yeah,
excited for sure. I
nice,
think
nice,
I'm definitely going to watch Benfica with Madrid. I think
for
that's an
sure.
important game for whatever the season has. And also, I want to watch Paris Saint-Germain too. I've seen that Luis Enrique had a few problems with Dembele last week. I don't know if you heard about it. So I want to see how the team rearranges after that little incident.
What was the incident that had happened?
I think he made some comments about Luis Enrique's coaching or something like that, or when he was put out of the field. I'm not sure
Okay.
exactly what happened.
Okay. You know what? Actually, I do believe PSG lost that matchup. Channels at the time, and I actually watched the game, or a good portion of the second half, I would say. And Stad Ren was whooping PSG's butt. I will say that. Like, they were giving them a pure on spanking. I don't know if it was motivation. I don't know if it was effort. I don't know if it was tired legs.
Possibly.
But yeah, so if something had happened in media in terms of comments, yeah, they definitely felt a lot of emotion after that game.
Yeah,
100%. So it definitely trickle into the following matchup, which they have against Monaco, another French team who know them very well and are probably going
that's
to
the
give
thing.
it their absolute best, to yeah, overcome PSG. So 100%, it definitely is a bit of a tricky moment for PSG, I would say. And I'm saying this because I watched the game and they really played bad. Like, it wasn't, it was a very interesting game to see them go down like that, which could speak on what's going on in the dressing room, like you were saying, right?
Yeah,
So yeah, that would be PSG. Monaco first leg is taking place today. Another matchup we were just talking about was Benfica and Real Madrid. Pretty intense matchup as well, to be honest. Obviously most people would be like, Madrid's gonna take it easy. They have Mbappe, they have Vinny, they have all the star players that they need to get the job done. But Benfica is always a tough team, and they're coached by Mourinho. So what are your
that's
thoughts
true.
there?
Well, I think Mourinho knows very well. He knows Madrid, and he also knows Arbeloa very well.
Right,
He coached him, right? So he that's the only advantage that I see that Mourinho might have against Madrid. And also, like, he knows how to play against Madrid, obviously, right?
for sure.
So we'll see that match.
Not,
I
not
think
only does
Benfica
he
has
know
some
how to
great players.
Not only does he know how to play against Madrid, he knows how to play against lazy players, right? And he knows how to piss
Yep.
those lazy players off, right? So I do
Yeah,
expect
facts.
Benfica to be running a lot of the game. I think where I'm a little bit undecided is Benfica's going to have to compensate for something regardless during this game, during these matchups, right? It's not to say that, they're going to put all this running energy and they're going to run Madrid down, and that they're still going to be able to get some clever plays, some, skillful plays, because you have to kind of compensate a little bit. If you're going to play that style, then it becomes, okay, you're trying to counterattack. If you're trying to counterattack, you have to be very profound, right? You can't,
Yeah,
miss up those counterattacks. So yeah, I'm interested to see, what Madrid's going to what Benfica's going to compensate. If they're just going to play their game and say, you know what, let's try to score some goals. Let's try to go 2-0 up against this team. Because if you leave it to a 1-goal game or a late game decider, chances are, Madrid, that's when they usually like to
absolutely.
capitalize, right? Was
Abs-
when the game is dead, when you think, the game is finished, that they want to come in at that point. So yeah, that's what I'm interested to see with that matchup.
yeah, absolutely. Me too. Me too. I think Mourinho, especially if he goes through this playoff, I think he probably has chances to go far in the Champions League. Remember, he's an expert in the Champions League.
100%,
And
100%.
I have felt I have felt that Mourinho, the last few years, not having a team in the Champions League has maybe taken a toll on him in terms of like inspiration and energy to coach. But now that
True.
he is in the tournament that he really likes, I think it makes him more dangerous in the competition.
100%. And I do agree. If Benfica are able to get out of this playoffs with Madrid, they become a full-on dark horse to go to the
Absolutely.
semifinal. Absolutely. So I'm hoping for some Mourinho magic. I think it would be absolutely
Me
great to
too.
see. You know, on the other hand, you have Real Madrid, who you were speaking last week about putting your league title and your Champions League ambitions in two different places. Real Madrid just, and we're gonna talk about this later, but they just took, I think, a 2 point lead on Barcelona now it is. So
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting to see whether they put all their cards into this Champions League match or they want to go secure the next 3 points on the weekend, right? Definitely something to look out for. Another matchup which will be pretty interesting, and I'm actually going to watch this game because Galatasaray and Juventus. I think you know, both teams have some interesting players, and it's probably going to be a little bit more of an offensive battle. Maybe Juve comes a little bit more rigid and defensive, which I would understand. But I'm expecting some goals in this matchup.
Where is the first leg?
The first leg is going to be in Galatasaray.
Okay.
So
So now
Inter
I
in
was
the
gonna
oven.
give it the chance to yeah, I was gonna give the chance to Galatasaray if it would have been the second leg. Because you know, they could have just hold this game and then on their field they could just win there.
Right,
Like
right, right,
it's a very strong stadium. Like yeah, it's one of the
right.
hardest. The players say that, right? So
Right, right. And with that being said, you're right. I think Juventus definitely has the edge in the second leg. There's
yeah,
no doubt about that. So I think they're going to come out very strong in this first leg because if they get a result, in Galatasaray, even a tie, the second leg could be wrapped up. I don't see Galatasaray as a team that can travel with their game.
yeah,
But who knows? Who knows? Maybe they go all out today and they go up 3-0 as well. I think, yeah, the first leg is definitely going to decide this matchup for the most part.
I agree.
All right, so we also have Borussia Dortmund and Atalanta. Borussia, another home stadium that is very intense, very loud. I got a chance to watch the Borussia versus Inter game, which was in Borussia. Honestly, we handled it pretty well. Our fans traveled, so there was a lot of noise coming from our fans as well, which is always very important on those days. And that helped. That really helped. So I think if Atalanta can do the same thing, they're a very tricky team. They have guys like Koop Miners, De Catalare, even just losing Lookman, they still have guys like Skamaka and like just a lot of tricky, clever, very industrious type players. So, and as for Borussia Dortmund, I know they have Joe Bellingham. I know they have Adeyemi, who has kind of one foot out the door at Borussia at this point, but he's still there. Yeah, that's as much of a synopsis I have for it. What about you?
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna give the edge to Borussia Dortmund on this one. I think Atalanta is a very great team, especially for the past few years. They have been very impressive. What's the name of the coach that now it's in Marseille that was there?
Before it was Gasperini, I believe,
Yeah, yeah.
and
But
Atalanta,
before
right?
that, the one that in during the pandemic, that's when I feel that Atalanta started building up a team, especially a
Right, right,
style of playing.
right, right, right.
So yeah, so that was before. I think it was. I'd have to know.
Yeah, so right now it's Raffaele Palladino, but
hmm
prior to that it was Gasperini. Gasperini
And
was
what about
probably
prior to Gasperini? There was another guy.
prior to Gasperini. Gasperini was there from 2016 to 2025.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
so it was definitely Gasperini
So it
you're
might have
talking
been
about.
him.
I,
Yeah,
th- I
for
think
sure.
you were thinking about De Zerbi. I think you were
Yeah, yeah,
thinking
yeah. I was thinking about him.
De Zerbi was in Brighton, not Atalanta.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
because he also has a very good style of playing. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. No, Gasperini is a very good coach. He has an amazing record, except against Inter. I had to add that in. But yeah, no,
facts.
Gasperini definitely built a great foundation for Atalanta.
Yeah, definitely.
But now that I think of it, with them selling Lookman, to Atletico Madrid, it's definitely a key piece lost. I don't know if they're gonna look at that sale like we don't have to go far in the Champions League type thing,
Mm,
because it was a lot of money, you know what I mean? And sometimes when teams cash out, their ambitions kind of, go in different directions. Yeah, but at the same time, Atalanta, they're always uh, they're always a team where they have nothing to lose. Essentially, they're here. So, but yeah,
yeah,
overall, I'd probably give the edge to Borussia, right? with that being said. So yeah, we will see what that matchup brings. All right, so the next one would be that we'll get to Olympiacos and Bayern Leverkusen. I
We
think
talked about this one last week.
originally, yes, you were saying Leverkusen, and I think I do side with that as well. I don't know that there's any stories in Olympiacos that we should be up on, but if there is, you guys you guys watching, you guys could let us know. Drop it in the comments. Let us know anything that we missed or any news that we should be up on in terms of some of these teams. All right, the next matchup: Koragbag versus Newcastle. So yeah, interesting matchup as well. I think
But I think Newcastle has the edge for sure.
yeah, I actually watched the Newcastle game against Aston Villa in the FA Cup recently, and they seem really motivated. Sandro Tonali, he's back. He scored two amazing goals, actually. He's a very interesting situation too because I feel like he could be on such a better club or doing
Yeah,
something
but after the thing
something
that
better with his
happened,
career.
is a bit hard that a club
Yeah,
takes the chances, right?
that's too. Yeah, definitely comes with some baggage, as they would say. But he played amazing. He played excellent. So if if if
Such a good player.
if he's playing, if I think Bruno Guimaraes is over there, Murphy, Gordon, they should have enough firepower to get it done and move on to the
Yeah.
next round. And I think that'll be a goal for the Newcastle. Plus, it's a Premier League team. The last two matchups we have Inter and Bodo Glimt. Now, I think we were talking about this as well, and I said that
Inter
this is
definitely.
absolute fabulous matchup for Inter in terms of the play style. So yeah, Inter is rolling right now in first place in the Serie A, scoring bags of goals, scoring important goals. Big clash against Juventus that we will talk about as well.
Yep.
And then last but not least, Club Brugge and Atletico Madrid. I want to get your opinion on this because Atletico Madrid, they lost to Real Betis 2-1. They went and beat Barcelona 4-0, and then they went and lost to Rayo Vallecano 3-0. Is it with Atletico Madrid? We in
I
for
think
some
it's
surprises.
no, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. They see the league as something that they're not going to try to win at this point. They will try to get into the top four to go to the next Champions League. And as for now, their priority is definitely the Copa del Rey. I think it's pretty obvious, and then the Champions League, right? I think their third place for this season is the La Liga, and
Right.
I think the way they play football, it's perfect for this type of competitions, right? Playoffs, 180 minutes. I think Cholo he knows how to manage a game that's 180 minutes, right?
Right. Right.
So I think they're gonna go. I think I mentioned this last week. They're gonna go with all their intensity for La Copa del Rey and with all their intensity for Champions League, and they
Yeah.
will try to stay in the top four of the La Liga because I think they already know that now. There's no way we can because Villarreal is there very strong. They're not even gonna try to get third place. They're probably gonna go for the top four.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. Good take. Good take. Yeah, you're right. I think clearly the league is out for Atletico Madrid. And the Copa del Rey, UEFA Champions League is going to be put at a higher importance. I still want to see what their approach to the game is. Even though it's Club Brugge, I think sometimes, like I said, that motivation with and ambition with Atletico is up and down. And I think those first 30 to 45 minutes can become tricky for them. Against any opponent. You know what I mean? So um, yeah, I think obviously that they have 100% the edge. But yeah, I think I don't know if they're going to score a lot of goals or if it's going to be a tight, 180
Yeah.
minutes either way. But we shall see. We shall see. So that is it for the UEFA Champions League knockout playoffs. We pretty much went through all the matchups and the breakdowns. So we will see what's going to be happening as of the next couple of weeks. Drop your comments in the comment section and let us know what your predictions are. If you are siding with any of our predictions or if you're against any of our predictions. So, all right. So, next topic: Barcelona, Real Madrid. We have a new battle that has opened up as Real Madrid now have a 2-point lead, as Barcelona had slipped to Girona with some title implications. And yeah, give us your thoughts on the game. I know you've been ready to talk about this as well. So yeah, go for it.
Well, I'm gonna give you the two opinions, right? First, the football side. On the football side, I think Barcelona, the only problem they have at this moment is not the defense, it's not the line of defense, which people say, which I find actually it's a very over simplistic analysis because it's not a high defense lineup. It's a defense system. So whenever the top strikers are not pressing well, it's gonna give more space for the other team to like throw a long ball, and that's gonna complicate the first line of defense, right? So you cannot blame the first line for all the goals we concede. No, it's actually, we have to blame the whole defense system. So the first players have to press right for the third players to be able to go on defense properly. That's the first thing I want to say. I think that everyone that's saying that we play with a high line of defense and that's what the problem is, I think they're just wrong, completely wrong. It's just it's an analysis that is very simplistic and you're not really seeing the big picture here, right? Pretty angry today. All right. The
Go
second
for it.
thing is
Go
that
for it. Let it rip.
we're missing. I think Barcelona is missing way too many chances. There was a yesterday. Lamine Yamal missed. It's not the penalty what bothered me. The thing that actually bothered me was when he was 1-on-1 with the keeper and he tried to chip the ball on a 0-0 score. Like, no, that's a no for me. The thing that I'm very critical for this team of Barcelona is that we have to care about the chances that we miss, right? Because they are not hard. They're not easy to get. Sometimes Barcelona thinks that they go into the field and they think they're going to have 20 chances and they will score 4. But that's not the case. Sometimes you will have just 5 and you still have to score 1. That's why Rafinha and even Rashford in this team are very important because they do care. I can tell. Like Rafinha, even though he missed a chance, you can tell that he tried to score. Like he went with a powerful shot. I'd rather that than whatever Lamine Yamal did. Trying to chip the ball on a 0-0 score was just not. So I'm have to be critical with the way. If I was Flick, I would go to the training round and I would make them shoot 1,000 balls to start scoring goals.
Yeah.
Because what we need is the problem is that the problem is not that we concede so many goals. The problem is that we're not scoring the chances that we have. That's the main problem. Right? And that's on the football side, right? On the referee side, I think Madrid, I mean, I have to say it, I wish I would have complained about this league season before, but it's clear that they had like 10 or 15 points extra because of the ref calls. I don't know how many pens they have taken. There was 2 penalties that one of them on the last game was definitely not a penalty. It was complete dive by Vinicius. And that makes the league being more tense for Barcelona. They have to win every game. The amount of points that this league is going to have to go for one of those 2 to win, it's kind of unrealistic. We're going to go to 90 something points and it's a lot of points and a lot of games that, Madrid should have lost. Like, for example, the first game where Madrid, I think they beat Osasuna 1-0 with a penalty that was not a penalty. Like if you see it was actually Mbappe's, he did a fall and then he fell on the ground and they conceded a penalty for him.
Right.
So yeah, so I think Madrid has gotten like at least 10 points for free on this season. And I have to say it, I wish I'd said it when Barcelona was first. I should have, but it's just the truth. I hate to say it, but it's just the truth. I think something is going on there that they don't want Barcelona to win two leagues in a row. And the same thing happened when Xavi was. So we won the league with Xavi with 88 points, and the next season Madrid did like 95 points. The 2 Clásicos on that season were very, like, not only the 2 Clásicos, but like there was so many games that Madrid had like 10 or 12 points for free as well. So I think it's just something to look out, and I think Barcelona fans should be more aware of that for sure.
For sure. I think that there's a mix of things going on. From my point of view, 100% Real Madrid is taking advantage of some of the free points that they've been getting, the free penalties, all the weird calls, and it's funny because when you watch Real Madrid, they really don't have much to offer in a football aspect. You know what I mean? It's really kind of lousy play. It's lazy football, and because their players have a few moments per game that they're able to get over the edge. Even not only the penalties that have been called for Real Madrid, but also the non-calls that never exist in their box, right? So if they drag somebody down in their own box, or if they put a tackle in their own box, somehow they're getting away with it. So it's not only the penalties that they're getting, but also the penalties that are not being awarded to other teams. And I know La Liga is a very high friction league, right? A lot of these occasions they do happen all over the league. These little high friction plays. Similar to Serie A a little bit, but in a different way almost. I feel like in La Liga, the pace, usually induces a lot of static, and the fact that it's a league where players like to dribble, it's a league where, you know what I mean, taking on your man one-on-one, or, it's a custom thing. So very, like I said, kind of a lot of friction when it comes to there, and the pace, and, the static, and the penalties called either way. So I think that's one way to look at it. I think
one second, I will have to stop you there. I want to say one more thing. If you hear the audios from the VAR, every time Barcelona has like a foul, it's like red card, red card, red card. Like, and then De Jong was sent off. And on the
Right.
game with Atletico Madrid that we lost 4-0, and I totally take accountability for that. I don't care much about the goal we didn't get on that Copa del Rey, but I do care that Giuliano Simeone played for free for that entire second half, because that could have made a huge difference. There was a foul that wasn't called, and it was definitely a red card.
Right.
And then the first Garcia had the first foul, and then red card. So I see a lot of ambiguity in the referees right now.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And what that does is that drags down motivation. It drags down confidence.
Absolutely.
I remember even that game where I think 3 goals were disallowed for Barcelona. I think it's against Sociedad, or one of those games where there was a bunch of disallowed goals happening, and then they didn't end up winning, right? Which cost them. And I said that podcast too. I'm like that could be very big in the grand
Yeah.
picture, right? So yeah, a lot of those moments happening, and like I said, it then turns into actual mistakes. You know what I mean? So, and I think I've been calling it like in a way where I know Barcelona, like I seen them as a very top form team, over the last 6-7 months. But there are some holes, that end up showing up within the footballing, and it just is what it is as well. I mean, La Liga is yeah, it's gonna be very tight. These next 6-7 games, like as you said, the tension is now increased just due to the fact that it's such a tight race and all the calls are happening or non-calls happening. So every game, I can see more frustration and more frustration probably going to be coming out of these players, because it's at the point now where, if it happens again for Barcelona, or if Real Madrid get another penalty that's not worthy, it's just going to put more fire to the fuel. Um, yeah, I still would say on one end that, okay, if you're talking about Barcelona's defense and their defensive system, the defensive system for me, that's one thing altogether. Like whatever defensive approach a team has, that's up to you. I personally believe that the players in the defensive unit don't complement the overall team, right? And that's just my opinion. Eric Garcia, Pau Cubarsí, they are great. Pau Cubarsí has immense potential, you know what I mean? But I think he's given way too much responsibility at his age, as a 19-year-old to be going up week in, week out, and be like the fallback guy. I don't really like that approach, to be honest with you. Eric Garcia, I see him as a quality defender. I don't see him as a superstar top 10 in the world defender, right? So that still needs to be addressed, like, whether it's in the off season when you guys, and then it boils down to the whole money situation and what's, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of kind of discourse in that way. The goalie situation, which I've talked about a few times, I know John Garcia has some potential there, but is he going to be the face of Barcelona for the next 5 years? I think there's a question there.
I
There's a
think so.
question there.
I think for sure,
There's
man. If you
probably
if
some
you
people
watched that
that
game
believe it.
yesterday,
Yeah,
insane
yeah.
keeper.
No, he played good. I seen some of the saves he did, but I still I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence with it, and I'll say it. I'm not sure, what his ceiling is, and I think that's the big thing. He's not the perfected. He's not his complete version of a goalkeeper yet. I don't think. I think there's a lot of keepers in world football today that would be a level above.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just one aspect of it, So, between what's going on behind the scenes, financially, on the pitch, and then having to make do with what you got type thing with Barcelona, I think we're seeing the effects, and that they're gonna be fighting that as well. You know what I mean? They're not only fighting Madrid, they're also fighting their own availability of their players. I know you were talking about even adding in a striker that can finish, and realistically, like I
Yeah.
think finishing, it could be improved, but it's not to say that you guys have improved. You can't score. You guys have scored 6 goals in a game, 7 goals in a game, 8 goals in a game, 5 goals, hat
I agree
tricks
with
here,
that.
hat tricks there. I think the proof of is in the pudding for scoring. I think the defensive unit, though, and goalkeeper included, my opinion, needs to complement the rest of the team better, and whether that's going to happen through signings or whatever the case may be. But to see that how well things have shaped up over the last 12 months, considering, I still think a lot of upside. There's a lot of upside there.
One last thing to finish this topic. I do
Mm-hmm.
agree with you in many things that you just said.
Right.
But first thing for me personally, I think Hansi Flick is untouchable. You can't touch that guy. The guy is he's already shown that he's an unbelievable coach. So
For sure.
everything is
For
gonna
sure.
go on the players. So untouchable for me, Flick. on the
Fairly.
second hand, you said, yeah, we have been proven to score a lot of goals, but it's always when either the team is super inspired or we create like 20 chances. Not every game we're going to create 20 chances. There's going to be games that we only create 6 or 5
Right.
chances, which is still a lot, but you have to score 1 or 2 goals. That's why
Right.
Lewandowski is going to be crucial for the Champions League. I want to see the team giving him the ball more. I want more crosses. I was screaming yesterday with Girona. I want more crosses in the area for him because he can convert a rock into a goal. Right.
Right.
So that's one thing. And then the thing about the defensive aspect and Kubarsi and Garcia, I think they are great players, but there's a truth when I said before that if there is a disconnection in the higher line, so in the pressing line, and there's a long ball, and then Garcia is 1-on-1 or Pau Kubarsi is 1-on-1 with a fast player, we suffer. And that's why I think we do need Araujo to go back to play because he's a defense guy that he corrects those little mistakes, right? If he plays
Right.
well, if he goes back to his top shape, he can correct those mistakes that the high line of defense can have, right? That
Mhm.
little disconnections that, let's say, Rafinha or Lamine Yamal or Ferran are trying to press, and then there's a long ball that they cannot get.
Right,
Araujo
right,
has to
right. No,
correct
I
that.
see it. Then they're scrambling, right? Kubarsi's scrambling all the time, or Garcia
Yeah.
Someone's Kunde. Kunde, he's the top scrambler. Like, he's always running, trying to get back in position. Do I cover here? Do I cover there? You know what I mean? So, yeah, like I said, I think there's definitely a disconnect. And, as we talk about it more, it makes me think, like, is it a number 5 issue? Like, do we need a double pivot? Like, you know what I mean? Type thing, like, to help cover. So yeah, there's definitely some tuning that needs to go into it. And that's no secret. That's no secret. It's
Absolutely.
just a flaw. But other than that, I'm still excited to see how the rest of these 8 games go. I
Yeah.
hope, not to put any hope on badness on the team, but I hope Real Madrid at least, maybe take a couple games back or drop a couple points here and there to make it a little bit more interesting. When is El Clasico, by the way?
I have to
It should be
check.
coming
Let me
up,
see.
right?
Yeah. That's a big crucial game. So that should be on May 10th.
May 10th. There you go. So
Yeah.
we got up until then to pretty much figure out
To see.
how it's gonna go. So we will keep a keen eye out for that. All right. Yeah. Next topic. Inter Juventus. It was a very big match. I don't know if you've seen some of the drama and the controversy that happened with the red card.
I've seen it. Yeah.
And of course, Inter are sitting comfortably in first place with 61 points. I believe six or 7 points up on Milan. So,
6-7.
yeah, that's it. That's it. So, yeah, with the Inter Juventus match, essentially it was, this matchup has been a very thrilling matchup over the last 4 games. I think you've seen a post that I
Yeah.
posted
I'm
where
looking
there's
at that right now.
21 goals scored over the last 4 matches. Every game has just been firecrackers. It almost it's one of those experiences where you're watching a football match. Like when it happened the first time and it was 4, everyone was like, "Whoa!" And then the next game is like 4-3, and you're like, "Wait, what? How, like, how does this keep happening?" I think both teams just really show up for this match. It's becoming probably the number 1 match in Italy, the Derby d'Italia. Just the essentially the team that is now kind of like the king of Italy, Inter, over the last 5 years, and then the team that was the king of Italy for 15,
20
20 years
years.
almost. Yeah, yeah, right. So yeah, it's always a sight to see. Anyways, to get back to the actual game, and what happened was I believe the game was tied 1-1 at the time. Two first half goals happened within 30 minutes. And then a moment happened where Alessandro Bastoni was essentially running out with the ball from his own end, kind of like, trying to take the half space, right? Kalulu, which was the Juventus player, sticks his hand out, kind of gives him a little nudge. It was very light. It was very soft. However, Kalulu was on a yellow card. Now, I want to ask you, in this scenario where a player's on a yellow card and he's stopping the player from advancing into something that could make a counterattack, right? I don't know if you've seen the play and I just want to get your thoughts on what you feel about that. Should it have been a yellow? Should it have been just a foul and continue on?
It's tough call. I saw the I don't know what would you say? I want to know
Yeah,
what would you say? Because for me, yeah, it might have been just a yellow. I don't know.
yeah, yeah. Well, he the thing is he was already on a yellow. That was the thing, right?
Ah, okay, okay,
He
okay,
was
okay.
already on a
Yeah.
yellow. Yeah. So, um, I think I think stopping the play and stopping the transition is a weird moment for Kalulu. You know what I mean? It's like because the foul is so soft, but the action makes sense for a yellow type thing because he didn't have to stick his hand out. He didn't have to
Yeah,
stop Bastoni from running up, even though he's so far away from the net. You're kind of doing something. I think it was his fault at the end of the day. You know, people could fight and say that it wasn't a yellow. People can fight and say that whatever. You know, but at the end of the day, the onus is on Kalulu for even sticking your hand out while you're on a yellow. It's already a big game. You know, this is not Inter versus Genoa or Bologna or something like that. You know what I mean? This is,
yeah, yeah.
so I think the ref was put in clearly, a tough spot and a tough place, and he made his decision, so it is what it is. In terms of the game itself, like I said, it was still, even after that red card, it was still a great game. Juventus still scored with 10 men, so yeah, very, very interesting outlook. I also wanted to know whether you think that given the Inter has a knockout playoffs for the Champions League, Coppa Italia coming up, AC Milan, they currently have absolutely no competitions whatsoever. They're 6 or 7 points back. Do you think that Inter should be worried at all? How would you feel?
I think so. I think they won a couple of games ago, a few days ago, right?
Yeah,
Milan.
they did. They beat Pisa.
Yeah,
I
and
think
and
Modric.
and
I think,
Modric's still in a good level too. So
yeah,
yeah, I would definitely be careful for that because especially when you don't have any competitions on the side, that can give you the focus you need to like climb in the league, right?
hundred
I
percent.
still give the edge to it, but yeah, but just they have to kind of be careful in that sense. I think
Mhm.
Inter wants to prioritize the Champions League because they are so close to win it, but they every time they lose it in the final or
I
something
know.
else happens. Yeah,
Yeah,
so it's hard. It's hard to tell, man. It's hard to tell.
yeah,
Yeah, again, I always say that the league is the thing that's the most important thing to prioritize, but
right,
we'll
right.
see.
Yeah, I do think Inter have a finger on the title right now. At least I think they have a finger on it, and I think that's Milan. They're going to have some tough games, coming up. If they have to face Juventus, Napoli, things like that, we will be facing them as well. You know what I mean? So similar to what I said about Man City, the pressure is on Milan uh, to be perfect,
Sure.
regardless. So yeah, we'll keep an eye out for that. It's going to be very interesting as the next few weeks play out. And we'll get to our next topic quickly. So Neymar's return to Santos. We are 4 months away from the World Cup. I think Santos won 6-0 in that game. Give us your thoughts on what you think, whether there's enough time.
So yeah, I think there is enough time for Neymar. There's always enough time. He's best player, the best Brazilian player for the last 20 years or so.
Right.
So I don't know if you know this, but right now there is a carnival in Brazil, right?
Yes.
So, but this is the first carnival, sorry, the first February in like 12 years that Neymar has played. So he really wants to go because like he always mysteriously got injured during the month of February for a reason or two,
Right.
because he always wanted to go to carnival and stuff,
Right.
right? But
Right.
this is the first time in like in 10 years that he's played through the carnival of Brazil.
Yeah.
That's one curiosity, and the other one is that I think Ancelotti was present in a carnival party, and the singer was saying, "Hey, Ancelotti, please call Neymar for a national team." And
Right. Right.
Ancelotti replied, "Oh, that's good advice. That's good advice. I'll take it
Yeah.
into account."
Yeah.
So we'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see. I
I
I
see.
always
I
want to
see.
see Neymar.
I seen Ancelotti actually having a lot of fun at the carnival.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah. I
seen a
saw that
picture
too.
with him and like three girls are kissing him,
Yeah, yeah, I saw
and
that too.
yeah, he was clearly having a blast. So I don't know.
Definitely,
It's hilarious to see a serious guy like him, living his best Brazilian life.
definitely.
So yeah, I think
So
it's
yeah,
in.
my thoughts are, I would say I would always put Neymar on the national team.
So do you
Even if
think?
he's like on a 50% of his level, he's still probably better than most of the
So do
players
you
there.
think he will make it to the World Cup and he will be on the list?
My heart is saying yes, but my brain is saying no.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Ancelotti should. I really think he should. I don't think that there's any reason to not play Neymar and not bring Neymar if not for at least, some experience on your bench. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, are you telling me he
Exactly.
can't play half an hour subbed on or something? I think actually that's the perfect setup for you to bring Neymar and bring him on in the last 30 minutes of a game, see how he does, see if he gets, a little luck, scores a goal, and then you can go on for your tournament. So
Yeah.
I think that it would Yeah, absolutely makes sense to bring him at this point. As long as he's running, he's healthy. I don't know what he's going to be doing over the next 2 or 3 months, but if he can lower the intensity and just make it there, and then raise his intensity in June,
Yeah, I agree.
I think Ancelotti, you should do it. Do the right thing. Do the right thing.
Absolutely.
All right. So, lastly, I quickly wanted to go over, as is pretty much the midway points, who we thought the top 5 players of the season are. And I know both of us made this list a little quickly, so there might be some names where we're thinking of as after mentions. But yeah, let's go ahead and kick out 5 names and see what we come up with. So, who are your top 5 players of this season?
I actually want to hear you first in this one.
You want to hear me first? All right, I'll go for it. So, I'm gonna go with Lautaro Martinez as my first choice. I think he's having an incredible year. I think he's obviously top scorer in the Serie A. Very motivational player, very motivated right now, leading Inter as the captain. So, yeah, I think it's been a great year for him. I think Lamine Yamal, we talked about the statistics from last week with, what he's been able to provide. And in terms of a contribution standpoint, I have to go with Lamine. I'm going to go with Mbappe as well, just as a clinical finisher of this year. He's probably been the top. Haaland would have probably been a little bit close, to be honest with you, maybe even Harry Kane. But I think Mbappe, he's shown a lot of clinical, like when Madrid need him to be clinical, even though, he has his moments as well. The next one I'm going to go with is Dibu Martinez. So he's actually been the top goalkeeper of the Premier League, right? There's not one goalkeeper in the Premier League that you can name that is having a better season than Dibu Martinez. And then I think as the Premier League is the top league in the world, yeah, he's pretty much up there. I don't know if there's another keeper in his position, like I said, doing better. And lastly, Enzo Fernandez as well. Outstanding midfielder, has racked up a big goal contribution, being the captain of Chelsea as well, and playing a very important role in terms of tempo and chance creation, things like that. So, yeah, those are my 5. How about you?
Well, I have to go with Harry Kane. I think he's my favorite player on this season. I think Bayern is doing an incredible season too.
Nice.
Very underrated because they are in the Bundesliga, but in the Champions League they did pretty well. So this is not, by the way, this is not in order though. I
Yeah,
haven't
neither
really.
was mine. Yeah.
So I would say Lamine would be there as well. Incredible player this season. Very underrated season for him. Even though I'm kind of angry at him for missing those chances yesterday, I still have to put him up there.
Mm-hmm.
I would put on the third place, not third place, but generally speaking, Mbappe. I have to put him there. Too many goals. Very clinical player. Like critical in the times that he had to be. Amazing player. Yeah, I think Mbappe would be there. And I want to put Lautaro Martinez for his numbers too. And
Mm-hmm.
for his historical achievement he has done. He's now the third top scorer in Inter, I think.
Facts, yeah.
That's also something, yeah, that I would have them. And on the fifth, I really don't know. Maybe Olise from Bayern Munich.
Fair,
But I
fair.
haven't really put. I was looking for a player on Arsenal, but I don't really see a player standing out a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
I go for Olise.
Very true. You know what? Now that you mention it, maybe Gabriel. Maybe Gabriel could go there. He scored some big goals and he's been defending a lot. So
Yeah,
yeah, no, pretty good list, pretty solid list as well.
yeah, definitely.
All right. So before we wrap up, as we mentioned last week, we do have a new partner affiliate, and we are very excited to add this to our affiliations as it is the platform that we are currently doing this podcast on. So definitely a 2 for 1, as you guys can actually see in real time the products that we are going to be telling you guys about, which is Riverside FMAI. It is a complete podcasting, recording, editing, pretty much everything that you need for a content creator, for a podcaster, for anyone in the videography field. Absolutely amazing platform. You can see how easy we've been doing our podcast on this platform. So we now have an official exclusive affiliate link that we will drop here in the video and also in the bio. Of course, check it out. They actually have a free plan. So you don't have to sign up absolutely on any subscription. It's absolutely free to start. And you can even stay on the free plan as well, as long as you like. But if you want to go for the pro plan, which I do personally have as well, you get more recordings, you get more AI features, you get pretty much all the features unlimited. So I definitely suggest, if you are a content creator, if you are someone that is looking to make content, want to get into the podcasting field, you need to check out Riverside. We do all of our podcasts exclusively on this platform. So like I said, link in description and link on the screen. So check that out. Of course, as you know, We are also affiliated with BioSteel, and we get 20% off of all their products. All you have to do is use our discount code 90.minutes or more, and you can get access to all the energy drinks, shakes, powders, etc. to get your days and workouts going. But yeah, so look out for those links. A very exciting news to add Riverside on. And that is pretty much a wrap for episode 9. Any last thoughts, Vicente, on your end?
Not really, not really. That was a good episode, actually.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Well, yeah, definitely a good episode. We're going to be watching some of the UEFA games over the next couple of days. And yeah, we'll get back with the results as of next week. You already know, 90 minutes or more, covering everything football. See you. Peace out.
Peace out.